We have breaking news out of the National Football League, contracts being awarded and being given out to highly talented offensive football players. First up, listen, I love foreshadowing by our conversation. Okay. Overreaction Monday yesterday, Chris, you're like Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs waiting for their contracts.
Yep.
They should be paid as much as the top wide receivers in National Football.
They're as good as them.
And I said to you, how to make me happy sometimes. And you know exactly what I pound the table about here. And that was low-hanging fruit for me. Running backs should be paid the level of wide receivers in the National Football League because of what these guys do. And when they have the opportunity to get paid in their mid-20s because they're so damn good already, knowing that at age 30 is when returns begin to diminish, unless you're somebody named Derrick Henry, or as Christian McCaffrey's going to try to prove for the 49ers this year. Just a number. But for most, that number is when teams begin to shy away from paying him. So you're Bijan Robinson, you're Jahmyr Gibbs, you need to get yours now. Certainly when the league does not value you at the top end of the market as they do wide receivers. That was the conversation we had just on Monday. And just before we come on the air here, Bijan Robinson, it is reported, gets a new contract that breaks the record.
Cha-ching.
Breaks the record for running backs. Max value of a 3-year extension of $75 million. It's easy math, 25 a year. $51 million guaranteed. Highest ever for a running back. So well-deserved because at least on top of all this, Atlanta knows there will be no phone calls to Mr. Blank, Matt Ryan, Kevin Stefanski at 2 a.m. saying, guess what happened with Bijan? That kid is not doing anything except being a terrific face in the community and an awesome human being. Well done for the Falcons.
Great point.
Well done for the Falcons. Now, congratulations also in order for Zay Flowers, the Baltimore Raven wide receiver who just got paid as well. 4 years, $140 million extension.
What are we doing?
That includes $108 million guaranteed. Now, Zay Flowers, in his 3 years in the National Football League, has had, the last 2 years, 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He went from 1,059 in year 2 to 1,211 last year. And his touchdowns, just 5. Now, this proves my point, I believe. Zay, you get what you need to get. And the Ravens just paid him what the market bears. Now, who's going to help the Ravens win football games? It's Lamar. Lamar's got to get the football to Zay Flowers. You might double cover Zay Flowers. The protection may shade to Zay Flowers. You know where the protection's not shading to? The guy named Derrick Henry. Now, you could say, we'll put 8 in the box. We'll do this. Okay. Try that one. That's never happened with Derrick Henry before, as he's first balloting his way to Canton. I don't get it. Listen, I know why they're paying Zay Flowers this money. This is what you have to pay top-end wide receivers. And you could say he's not a top-end wide receiver. That's what you're saying, Chris, based on your eye-rolling and things of that nature.
You said it. I didn't.
It's a different offense sometimes. As you know, the Ravens have not really ever had a 15-touchdown wide receiver guy, you know? They don't have that guy.
Maybe that's the reason why they can't make the Super Bowl.
You just know you've got to have a game on the line. Who's going to win the game for you? What's more likely? What's an easier path for you? It's a running back that can run it to take the time off and a running back who can run away from you after he's standing right next to the quarterback who just hands it to him or flips it to him or screens it to him or flat routes it to him. Or you're somebody like Bijan, you're now on a linebacker or a slower safety because that's the way you could scheme it based on where he's standing pre-snap. Again, I'm no GM. I'm just a sports talk radio host. That's all I am right now.
Humble host.
I'm a humble guy. You know what I mean? I'm just a guy with a microphone. But I have a set of eyes. And Bijan, congratulations. And I'll tell you what, man, I would rather build a roster where my guy, who's the big difference maker. First of all, I'm an owner in the National Football League. I'm also not sitting here. But that said, if I'm an owner in the National Football League, I turn to my general manager and I say, if I can have the main engine of this offense, I know I'm paying my quarterback. If I'm paying my quarterback in the $40 million range, I'm lucky. If I'm paying my quarterback $50 million, I'm understanding that's the cost of doing business. But I'm turning my general manager and I'm like, get me one of these running backs in the draft, which is why Arizona, go ahead and get Jeremiah Love. He could be the next one of these guys. That the top end, I'm paying him what? $25 million? And everybody's like, whoa. I'd rather do that than take a wide receiver and pay him $30 million on the come. I'd rather do that. So in Detroit, Jahmyr Gibbs, like, awesome. You also have Amon-Ra and you've got Jamison Williams as well. So Gibbs is like cents on the dollar if you're paying a wide receiver who's gotten 2 1,000-yard seasons and you're waiting to see if, some of the wide receivers who make this money have 14 touchdowns in a season rather than a career in the first 3 seasons of Zay Flowers has had. Yeah. This is just roster building. So Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit, some folks think that this is now going to be a problem for them. To me, I look at this and say, now you know where you got to target.
Right.
You remember when they had a problem in Baltimore figuring out Lamar's contract? Sometimes you have to remember this a couple of times ago. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, Jalen Hurts got paid first.
Yep, right.
And then all of a sudden, Lamar got done because a market is set. And Bijan just set the market. I'll take $25 million. So guess what Gibbs will say? Pay me a penny more.
Right. But my point is that Bijan gets 51 guaranteed. What is Jahmyr going to get? Probably a little bit more, 52, 53, something like that. Sure. You're going to pay Zay Flowers more guaranteed than the 2 best running backs in the NFL? What are we doing?
Hoping that Zay Flowers can provide the touchdowns.
And not fumble on the goal line?
Well, that wasn't his fault.
Did he fumble at the goal line or not?
I know he did. That was unfortunate. And that's to bring that up and count that against him. It was his rookie season, man. I don't
go to the Super Bowl.
You sometimes tip your cap to the defense. Okay. I'm not going to lay that at his feet. It was unfortunate for him. And the fact that he's actually had a good career after that, like that doesn't define him unless people like you bring it up when we're talking about him cashing in.
Take it, Zay Flowers.
And by the way, he can't hear you. He can't hear your criticism over his pallets of cash.
Good for him. And by the way, not hating on anyone on getting paid.
Well, it seems like that.
Absolutely not. But it's the structure of the NFL where the 2 best players, fantasy isn't real life, but they're going 1 and 2 in fantasy.
Yeah.
Zay Flowers is probably going in the 3rd or 4th round.
Again, receivers are depending on having to get the football to them. A defense will dictate more against a wide receiver than a running back who can run and catch it. I believe that's the differentiator. And now if I'm Detroit, I'm like, I'm calling up Gibbs' agent and saying, okay, this is the market. And if I'm the Lions, I'm like, let's do this today. And if I'm Gibbs, I want it done today too.
It's done today.
And I think Dan Campbell's eager for that too.
It's certainly not going to hurt. I mean, it's not going to hurt. but we'll see. We'll see. I'm anxious to get Gibbs back out there. Every day that goes by, that's another day that you feel like you miss with him and getting him out there with the guys and him being doing his part. So, but there again, man, it'll get done when it gets done.
Yeah, I'm with him too. You never know, but I think it won't hurt. I think it helps. There's a market to bear. And then in Baltimore, Zay Flowers is, interestingly enough, the Ravens are the 4 downs today. New offensive coordinator, Zay Flowers. You take a look at the other receivers on the roster. There's Rashad Bateman, Devontae Walker, and some other young players that they're hoping can come to the fore. Mark Andrews as well. But it's really about Lamar, and Lamar's got to get the ball to Zay Flowers. But I'll tell you what will win games for the Ravens inside the 20, in between the 20s. You got one of the greatest running backs ever standing there. But we're not paying him top of the receiver market
is
money.
Derrick Henry getting paid? Hold on a second.
I'm sure it's not that. I bet you it's half of what Bijan's getting paid.
Let's see.
Or what Gibbs is about to.
He's getting $11 million in cash this year.
So, listen, these NFL contracts. I'm just talking about roster building. Give me a kid who I can give a massive contract extension to, and it's half of what receivers make at the top end of the market. Get me one of those. I know that there's not many of them, but there appears to be many of them coming out of college. And I would tell my kids who play football, don't play running back. Play wide receiver. Run fast, run your routes, have your head on a swivel when you're going across the middle, and hopefully you wind up on a team with a terrific quarterback, an offensive coordinator that's not going to get fired or hired somewhere else, or the head coach isn't going to get fired, and you can just have a consistent run at it, and you will get paid twice as much as that running back. Go figure.
Wow.